Hey guys, welcome to Big Sister. Hope you guys are having a wonderful weekend. I hope you guys enjoyed your holiday. Those of you who celebrate Thanksgiving, those of you that don't and you just relax, I hope you guys are just enjoying your day. I want to talk about something that I'm going to call unbalanced love. And unbalanced love is just what it is. If something is unbalanced, someone is going to be high. If we think about it on a scale, if something is equal, then the scale is balanced together, at the same level. But when it's unbalanced, one is going to go a little higher, one is going to go a little lower. Okay, and if you think of a chair or a table, you can't set food on a table that is unbalanced. If it's slanted, you are not going to be able to sit your food on that table and expect that there will not be some sort of spills, breaking. You can't sit in an unbalanced chair, a chair that has 3 legs or just one leg off to the side. When you just think of something you may put on a surface, if there's a pen under the bottom, there's a pen on the table, and then you try to put a book on top of that pen, you're going to see that book is wobbly. And when it comes to relationships and there's unbalanced love, meaning there's someone who's getting more than the other, someone who's giving more and they're not being reciprocated, or someone is deliberately withholding love and giving less while getting more. This is when we're going to see a lot of the repercussions, or you'll see a lot of the hurt and the pain and the discontent that's going to take place in these types of relationships. We're not in relationships to measure, to say, no one gets up and go, oh, I wonder how much she loves me or he loves me, or how much does my brother love me? How much does my sister love me? How much love am I going to get today? How much love should I give? No one should really wake up or even have that in their mind. Love is not something that you measure. Love is not something that you keep a tally of it, because if you're doing that, then it's not love. But it's about who you are at the core. It's about the position of your heart. It's about the sincerity in what you desire to do. If someone truly loves you and someone really cares about you, there will be a desire to love. There will be a desire to understand love. There's going to be a desire to understand you as a person. This is not just boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, intimate relationships. We're talking about in general, whether it is your family, whether it is a friend, or a person that you want to marry or date. Love is not measured in terms of what are you giving me, what did you do. Love is action. It's action. And when you have good intentions, sometimes even with good intentions, you can make poor decisions or you can mess up, because we're human beings and there's so many things that makes us who we are. There may be things you do with good intentions, but you just underestimated, was thinking they would appreciate this because you appreciated it. You thought this would help them, but it was not the right time. So there's so much to do. And then there are times love is also in action. There are times, let's say, when you have a child, sometimes love is in action, meaning as much as you want to reach out and help the child or do certain things for them, you know that in order for them to grow, in order for them to be accountable and responsible, there's certain things you have to stand to the side. Having given them guidance, they have to walk that walk. You can't protect them from everything. Neither are you going to be negligent, but at this juncture with the child, they have to learn their lessons, or they have to walk this walk, they have to have this experience. That is also part of love. When you love a person, you want to protect them. There's some certain things that's there that's hands down. It's about accountability, responsibility. You want to protect, you want to provide, you want to defend, you want to hold, you want to hug, right? There are all these different aspects of life, of love. And a part of love is even honesty. People don't understand that. A person may think, you don't love me if you don't tell me what I want to hear. You have to agree with me. If you disagree with me, it means you don't love me. If you don't give me what I want, it means you don't love me. We're not talking about willfully holding things that a person needs, but being honest. Or sometimes, as I said, with a child, it's easy for you to just shell out this money and give it to them. But at the same time, I also have to keep a balance here, that they have to learn how to earn money, save money, and how to be responsible with it. You're not withholding anything to be deliberate. But you can be in relationships where a person is deliberately holding things back from you because, or they deliberately withhold things like respect. They deliberately withhold protection because they want you to be vulnerable. They want to see you get hurt. They can deliberately withhold accountability. So they want you to take all the blame for everything. They can deliberately withhold responsibility because they want to get you back. They want you to suffer, or they want you to realize, oh, without me, you're nothing. This is not love. And so this is the imbalance that can happen here, because there's one person or a group of individuals who are in a relationship, whatever type of relationship it may be, because they're there for the long haul. Thick and thin, high and low, I am here because I genuinely love you and I care about you. I'm going to treat you the way that I would like to be treated, and in some cases even better. But the imbalance is going to come in because somebody in that relationship does not have those same sentiments, and they are there to get what they can get. And they are going to do whatever they feel like doing to you. They're going to be the opposite of your love, the opposite of your consideration, the opposite of your loyalty, respect. That is not going to be there. And so when there's an imbalance, then you're going to see that the relationship is not going to be steady because it's not on a foundation. And these things are going to come in there will be many ways that can manifest: through arguments, someone feeling neglected, someone feeling upset, maybe yelling, screaming, vengeance, getting someone back, breakups, divorce. These things can happen because there's an imbalance. And the imbalance is the person does not care about you the way that you care about them. And someone is going to keep trying and trying and trying. And the person who's holding it back, they're going to take whatever you can give them. They want you to beg. They want you to cry. They like to see you this way. But they're not going to comfort you. For your tears, they will stay silent. For your pleading, they will continue to reject you or act like they don't know what's going on and why you are behaving in this way. They will deny that they have hurt you. They will deny that they have been inconsiderate to you. And this imbalance can really cause you to go down this rabbit hole in pursuit of truth that 9 times out of 10 they know what they have done, these individuals, but they're not going to do that. They're not going to confess it, because they see that you love them. They see that you care. They see that you want an explanation, or they will see that you want to, these individuals want to explain themselves. So they'll see the person who loves and cares for them is going to keep trying. It has now become an expectation, and they may know truth, but they will always withhold it. because it's more fun to deflect. It's more fun to confuse you. It's more fun to deny you. And so because there's an imbalance, this is how you see some people may take their own lives. They end up taking the life of someone else. They could end up taking the life of a person that they thought is a problem or rivalry. They can go into deep depression. They can also get to a place where after the relationship with this other person breaks up, they become very hardened and bitter. And so they go into relationships and friendships entitled, or they begin to hurt people, which is a defense mechanism for themselves, but it is not good for the other person who's on the receiving end of it. So unbalanced love is something that you just really have to realize exists. There's an, imbalance, unbalance, okay? It's not good. It is not good. Somebody's gonna fall. Someone's gonna be, as I say, on a seesaw. Someone's at the bottom and someone's on the top, okay? Or you can have someone that's sitting on the bottom and looking at you and smiling, and you feel like, wow, they really care. But if you've ever been on a seesaw like I have been, the person on the bottom can get off and just get off their end, and you fall right down. I can tell you that from experience. When I was a little girl, I was on a seesaw and I was playing with this guy. I guess our families were affiliated, but now that I think about it, his name was Dean, and Dean was very mischievous. Dean was older than me, but Dean was always like, I was younger, and I guess Dean will know that something's going to hurt, but I would just be believing Dean, right? And there was nothing weird between us or anything like that. We were literally just kids, and I just remember running around, and we were always doing stuff in the yard and outside, and Dean and I was on a seesaw. And so we go up and down on the seesaw. And I remember I was up, and keep in mind, this seesaw that Dean had made, he made it like with a plank, some wood, and it was on something, I can't remember. Going up and down, just enjoying it, right? And all of a sudden, Dean gets down. He's on the lower part of the seesaw, and Dean just gets off. And I just fall down. And because it wasn't like one of those fancy seesaws, it fell. And I remember hitting my head on the ground, okay? And it hurt really bad, and I think he got in trouble. Dean was the type that he'll take you, oh, we're playing, and Dean had a magnifying glass, and we were in the sun, and Dean tells me to put my hand down, and he puts the magnifying glass over my hand, and I am so fascinated by seeing the sunlight, or seeing that light on my hand. He tells me to keep it there, and suddenly I get the most intense burn on my hand. Well, now that I'm older, after I got older, I realized Dean knew that with a magnifying glass, and if I'm in the sun and the rays come down, it's going to magnify that, and it's going to burn me. So now that I really think about it, Dean was a psycho. I don't know where he is today, and I don't want to know. I hope he outgrew that. That boy was crazy. I was with a possible Charles Manson, okay? But what I'm saying is, they're going to let you down. They're going to hurt you. That's where the imbalance comes. And then you can be in these relationships with these individuals and feeling completely unhappy. But you're doing whatever you can do to, you think that love means that you should be unhappy to make someone else unhappy. But that's not true. That's that imbalance. You will feel like in order to have relationships, you have to allow people to disrespect you and make fun of you and do all kinds of stuff that's wrong to you, okay? Do those horrible things to you, and love means just being patient and still being there. No, it's imbalance, because someone else is getting the short end of the stick. If someone loves you, they should love you enough to care about what you feel. They should love you enough to protect you, not to want you to fall and get hurt. They should care about you enough that they're not going to willingly watch you sit out there and burn. I'm giving some analogies or comparison to, figuratively speaking about what Dean did. Okay. This is what I'm talking about. It means you have to understand that when someone really loves you and someone really cares about you, and if you love and you care about a person, you're not willingly going out there and trying to hurt them. And while we can hurt the ones we love unintentionally, once it is brought to your attention, you see the tears, you see the trauma, you see how this individual is feeling. They have sat down and verbalized to you that this bothers me and this hurts me, or you have done it and they do it again. That is not love. If someone comes to you and say, this hurts me, if you love them and you care about them, you heard what they've said, you can speak to that person and say, hey, this was not my intention. This is not what I thought. You can have a dialogue on what happened and how it took place. But love is not repeating that same thing over and over again. And now when that person keeps repeating the same thing over and over again, now you have to recognize this person may have an issue with their anger. This person may have some issues with fidelity and loyalty. But guess what? You have to be able to make that command decision and say, look, you have to go and work on yourself. I'm going to work on me. You don't continue to have that person doing the same thing over and over to you. Now, this is going to be harder to do when you're at home or with your family or your siblings. And there's a lot more work and stuff involved in that when you're trying to separate from blood, or how do you deal with the person who gave birth to you. There's going to be a lot more involved in it. Counseling, all of that. It's going to take a while. And I do believe I've done videos about parents who've hurt children or vice versa. And if not, I will come back and do another video about that. But a lot of times, guys, imbalanced love is just as I described before. If a table only has 3 legs instead of 4, if a chair only has 3 legs instead of 4, only 2 instead of 4, and it's not designed to be balanced on 2, if you all the information that I've given you and all the examples, there's going to be, because it's not stable, things will fall, things will be very uncomfortable. It is not going to be useful. It cannot be utilized for anything. You can't put anything precious on a table that's not balanced, or on a countertop that's not balanced. You're not going to put your best silverware on there because it's not built to hold it. So that is really what happens with a lot of people. You can't invest, you can't put too much of yourself in a person who does not care and love you. I don't care what anyone says. Action speaks louder than words. The apologies don't matter. The crying doesn't matter. The tears, the theatrics does not matter. What matters is what they do. What matters is what they do when you have told them how you feel and they continue doing it. I'm not talking about where you have someone that's just selfish and want to have their own way. But the truth of if someone loves you or not is going to be in their actions, not selfish actions like, oh, well, if you love me, you're going to buy me jewelry. If you love me, you're going to do this. No, do they protect you? Will they stand up for you? Did your tears matter? Or do you find yourself crying over the same things over and over again with them, and they become so immune to your tears they don't care anymore? That's an example of imbalance. The person who continues to offend, try to expose you, make you look bad in front of other people, and then try to tell you you're overreacting and they were just playing and they were just kidding at your expense, that's imbalance. The friend that celebrates, you celebrate them, or the friend that celebrates you and they're there for you, they support you, but when it's their turn, you're not there and you are always giving excuses for why you couldn't make it. The person that you support them, but when you're doing stuff, they're silent on your post. But they're always liking and sharing, and they're sharing somebody else's business, and they're putting what someone else is doing with their travel agency and who did this. They do those things, but when it's you, they're quiet and they're silent. That's the imbalance that we're talking about here. But regardless of whatever another person does, you have to be the one to decide, am I going to stick around for this? I'm not saying that you have to be quick to jump ship with people. But a part of love, genuine love, is that we have to be able to look at ourselves and say, all right, I messed up here. What do I need to work on this? If you find that you keep hurting someone over and over again, you keep apologizing, and you've reached a point that you've apologized so much that now you're going to try to flip it on the person and you're irritated, it means that you have something going on internally within yourself that you have to work out. It means you're not fit for relationships right now. If you're always having these issues and problems to the point you just stop apologizing now you behave like you didn't do it, you have an internal issue that have to be dealt with, whether through counseling, through prayer, through just deep therapy. You have to go and you have to face that, because it means somewhere along the line there's been some internal damage done where you continue to destroy, you continue to break trust, you continue to be jealous, you continue to be vindictive, you can't celebrate someone, you can't be happy for someone else, you can't be faithful, you can't be loyal, you can't help but be physically or verbally or emotionally abusive. That's now your problem. Or if it's the flip side, that's their problem. Love does not say, oh, I'm going to stick with you while you abuse me. That's not how that works, because you have to love yourself. Love, as I said, like with a parent, is knowing when to stop. That's a part of love too. Knowing when I need to stop here. Love is understanding that this person is out of control. And if I stay, I am now going to be destroyed in the process. Love is being able to recognize that. And love is saying, this is where I stop. This is where it ends. When you have to let go of them. People won't tell you about that part of love. They'll say, stay. You have to keep dealing with this. No. Love that is imbalanced will bring chaos, hurt, pain, destruction, and even fatalities. And regardless of your age, whether you are a full-grown adult or you are a teenager, you're a preteen, you're a young adult, you're never too young to learn this. I think sometimes people think because people are young, no, they're at an age of accountability, okay? If you are like 12, 13 years old, from that age on, you're accountable. And the way a person behaves and the type of relationships that you're going to expose yourself to, all these lessons you have to learn. But when you're in anything, whether friendships, whatever, there has to be a balance. It has to be, it's not about I gave 50 and you gave 50, because you can't measure that. Love is not something you measure in that aspect, but what you want is mutual respect, mutual consideration, mutual empathy, mutual loyalty. That has to be there, because if it's mutual, then when things happen, there's going to be a natural inclination to correct oneself. There's going to be a natural inclination to self-reflect. There's going to be a natural inclination to listen, hear what this person is saying, have this dialogue, and then work on not repeating that offense. There's going to be a natural inclination to say, okay, I'm struggling with this. Let me work on me. That may be just that may result in a temporary separation, or just saying, I acknowledge that this is where I'm at right now. I can't seem to overcome this. I need to work on me, and being willing to do the hard work. It is really easy to walk away. It's really easy for people to just make excuses for themselves, and that's why you meet so many jacked up people people who they're basically putting on this facade, and on the surface they look good, so they work on their looks, they work on their weave, they work on their hair, they work on their body, they are going to school and they're getting all these accolades and they're buying all these pretty cars and house, and this is what I have, and I can run fast and I'm funny and I'm this and that. But on the inside they are shocked. But what they do is they go from person to person to person to person to person. I won't work on me. I'll just break up with you and then I'm going to hook up with someone else. So no one is ever facing themselves. And then it's all about what this other person did to me. And I always say to people, even when you know that you're in a relationship where you were cheated on, or a relationship where you had friends that were not good to you or backstabbed, you still have to do some work here. In a sense, you have to always ask yourself, what made me ignore these red flags? What made me stay in this relationship? What made me continue being friends with somebody who was embarrassing me, who was selfish? It was one-sided. Because if you don't deal with that, if you don't try to figure out what made you so willing to be tolerant, you are going to, number one, you can become just as toxic as them, because now you're going to go to another relationship or other friendship and you're going to figure, I need to be a jerk so no one takes advantage of me. Or you will never change and you'll always be in relationships experiencing the same things over and over again, and just hopping from person to person to person to person, and before you know it, there's all this chaos behind you. Or as a lot of people do, they just throw in the towel, stay in these type of relationships, and they believe that this type of toxicity is normal. And so they live the rest of their days just being hung out to dry, being mistreated, being disrespected, or learning how to jump into the dog fight, okay? Because now you're learning how to talk back, you're learning how to be disrespectful, you're learning how to be ugly, you're learning how to be flippant, you're learning how to cuss them back out, you're learning how to get revenge. That was never the intention. But if you stick around in a situation where there's imbalanced love, these are pretty much the results of it. In a world and in society where even mass shooters are given excuses in court. Oh, they had a bad child. Oh, they didn't know their dad. Oh, this happened. Oh, that. In a society as such, there is a lot of people walking around that's just not taking responsibility, and then it becomes harder and harder to really to find genuine friends and be in a relationship with people where there are no ulterior motives. And so what a lot of people are doing is they're just compromising. They're so afraid of being alone, or saying no, or walking things, or waiting, or having a small circle. They're so terrified by that they will just take whatever a person tosses out. And so they're always in unstable environment. Anything can happen, anything can break, anything can crash and burn at any given time, because they have decided to live with a three-legged chair, try to eat on the table that's sloping on one side. They've learned, oh, don't put your drink on that side, put it on this side. And figuratively what it means, they've learned what not to do with this person, what not to say at their own peril in some cases, and at their own discomfort, right? This person offended you, but you're not going to say anything because you know if you go there, things are going to crash. It's like, you know, if I put my drink over on that end of the table, it's going to slide right off because this table is not balanced. But if I come on this side, if I put a book over on that end, then it's going to hold up. I know not to go there. And so when you're in relationships where you're learning not to go there and not to say anything, you are normally the one that is feeling unhappy on the inside, but you're just so glad that they picked you that you're willing to do anything. Imbalanced relationships are destructive, they're painful. And you know what? You deserve better than that. All right, guys, thanks for watching my video. Sorry for the length of it. I hope it really encourages someone, and I hope it helps you to sort some things out. All right, guys, peace.